In this third video on analyzing an opinion article, we're going to take a look at an article that appeared in the news site MarketWatch and use the ARG conditions to analyze its effectiveness. So if you type this search string into your computer, "spare me the hypocrisy on Cecil the Lion," you should come across an article by Brett Arends that appeared on July 30th, 2015 in on the news site MarketWatch. So the backstory here is that a popular lion in a game preserve named Cecil was killed by hunters in Zimbabwe on, I believe it was July 6th, and one of the hunters was a dentist, and the dentist is being berated because what happened apparently is that the lion was lured out of the game preserve, tracked for a couple of days, and then hunted down and killed. So there's a huge outpouring of outrage all across the world about this killing of a game preserve lion and the consequences of that. And this article is about hypocrisy that is associated with this outrage. The author is writing in a spirited fashion about this occurrence. So I'd like you to go read that article, and as has been the case in the other videos, identify the premises, the conclusion, and make a map of the article, of how the premises lead to the conclusion, and make your form your view on how convincing you think the inductive argument is. So come back when you've finished doing that. So in reading the article, let's see if you came up with the same premises that I did, or similar premises. So I have as premise one. Premise one: there is not outrage for the deaths of animals killed who are on the, or other animals killed who are on the endangered species list. There are 20,000 animals on that list. Premise two: killing of animals for food is just as worthy of outrage as killing animals for sport, or as the killing of Cecil the lion. Premise three: slaughterhouses kill defenseless animals, often torturing them in the conditions in which they're held. Premise four: just because Cecil the lion was popular doesn't make that doesn't make the killing of other animals less significant. Other animals that weren't or aren't popular. Premise five: there is very limited outrage to, was very limited outrage to a video of chickens on a chicken farm being tortured. And premise six: vegetarians are not hypocritical on this matter. So what's the conclusion? The conclusion the author wants to support is that it is hypocritical to be so outraged about the killing of Cecil the lion and not be outraged by the killing of other endangered animals, or about killing animals for food. So he's saying two other types of outrage should be present, or because there's not these two other types of outrage, this is evidence of hypocrisy on this issue. So on the next blackboard, let's put out the map of how the premises are put together to lead to the conclusion. So the premises are listed here on this page, and we see which premises are used to support others. So I've got as the main premises P1, P2, and P4. P1, that there's no outrage over the killings of other endangered animals. P2, that killing of animals for food should be incurring outrage, similar outrage. And P4, the killing of other animals is as significant as the killing of Cecil. So as supporting for the P2, I've got premise 6 that vegetarians are not hypocritical on this issue, that slaughterhouses are killing defenseless animals and often torturing them, and supporting that is that and that there's limited outrage on that, and then there's evidence for that was that there was a video about conditions in a chicken farm that didn't get that many views, and that there was limited outrage for that. So before we start talking about the support for the acceptability of the premises, let's talk a little bit about the author. The author is a vegetarian, as we find when we read the article, and he's definitely putting forward a vegetarian's point of view. So we want to analyze the premises from the point of view of someone who, from your point of view, whether you are or are not a vegetarian, and see if that how that affects them. So, premise 1: there is no outrage or limited outrage for other animals that are endangered. I would say that the author makes a good point there, that this is an acceptable premise, that if there's outrage over Cecil the lion, there should be a similar degree of outrage over the killing of other endangered animals. Premise 4, that other animals being killed is significant as the killing of Cecil, actually kind of supports premise 1, or leads into premise 1. That we'll give a check to as being an acceptable premise. What about that the killing of animals for food is something that should be worthy of equal outrage? Well, this is something that's not going to get a check. This is something that's going to depend on your point of view. Now, the author clearly thinks that is the case. He gives as evidence what's happening in slaughterhouses, and I think those people who are not vegetarians would say, yes, we think that there should be better conditions in chicken farms and in slaughterhouses, and we would support that, and we agree that we are being hypocritical, or at least some of us agree that we were being hypocritical for not being outraged by that. But I don't think that many people would support. I don't think we'd find that much acceptability of the premise that killing of animals for food is as worthy of outrage. So that premise we'll put a question mark beside. Now, what about the conclusions that the author is reaching? Is it hypocritical to be outraged by the killing of Cecil the lion and not outraged by the killing of other endangered animals? I'm going to put a check by that and show later why that is. I think that is supported, and then let's put a question mark besides this. So let's talk now about the relevance of the premises. They are all relevant except for perhaps this one. I guess it is relevant because the author is trying to make the case that we should all have the point of view of a vegetarian, that the killing of animals for food is something that we should be outraged about or upset about. So I'll count that as a relevant premise, even though because it's in support of one of the conclusions the author is making. Now about the groundedness. So, as noted, the premises 1, 2, and 4 do support that there should be as much outrage over the killing of other endangered animals as there should be, as there was, of the killing of Cecil the lion. I think you could also make the case that there should be a similar degree of outrage over slaughterhouses where the conditions are amounting to the torturing of the animals. That is, now remember here that for groundedness, the author is castigating those who are outraged over the killing of Cecil the lion. So I guess you might say you're off the hook if you weren't outraged by that. Then you are not hypocritical. So maybe he's not. So I guess he's not talking to you. But what about this other part of the premise that the killing of animals for food should be as worthy of outrage? Well, I think that it's clear that the author was trying to make that case. It's an argument he's accepted. It's not an argument that many people will accept. Only 3.2% of the population is vegetarian. It's not a justification in itself for not being a vegetarian, but we can raise a couple of points that our ancestors, distant ancestors, were not vegetarians, and that the eating of meat is what resulted in, at least the theory is that's what one of the main factors that resulted in humans getting the human line, getting bigger brains and becoming the species that we are. We also note that other animals kill for food, and so this is an argument. This is the weakest point of the argument. So the author does a good job in making some of the points about outrage, the hypocrisy of the outrage over Cecil the lion, and people not being outraged about other things that are very analogous and similar that they should be outraged about. Whether I don't think he quite or does as good a job, and it's a much weaker argument that there should be similar outrage over the killing of animals for food. So this is going to conclude this video on the analysis of this article using the ARG conditions.